Hello friends, you are welcome to E-Pathshala. Myself, Dr. Muhammad Babar Ali, Assistant Professor of Geography. I teach at Kirodimal College, Delhi University. Today the lesson is on marine resources for livelihood, that is at global, regional and local level. First of all, I would like to let you know what would be the outcome of today's lesson. The learning outcomes of the lesson will include the following major facets of marine resources. Number 1, characteristics of marine resources. Number 2, classification of marine resources. Number 3, various utility of marine resources. Number 4, some of the popular mariculture around the world. Number 5, production and distribution of world fisheries. Number 6, Indian marine fishery infrastructure scenario. And number 6, production and distribution of Indian marine fisheries. Let's introduce the lesson. The marine environment, being stable and better buffered against environmental changes, contains mammoth biodiversity. It has immense capacity to feed the teeming population of the world with seafood supplies of vegetarian and non-vegetarian genre. The fast emerging driven economy of today's world has to fall back on the ocean for the ever increasing demand of energy which terrestrial sources can hardly meet forever. The global consumption of energy since 1970s is likely to increase by 1/3 by 2035 according to the International Energy Agency IEA Paris. Due to extreme weather conditions, the global food security is already in jeopardy. Therefore, biofuel from food crops may have repercussions in the food demand supply equation. Hence, the enormous non-renewable energy resource base of marine environment has to be harnessed. However, the mineral mining from the ocean will speed up only when the terrestrial sources will dry up. In short, there is huge untapped marine resources such as fish and numerous seafoods, oil and gas, metallic and non-metallic minerals, sand and gravels, renewable energy resources and tourism, etc. Let's define what we mean by marine resources. The things which satisfy the human needs and are sourced from ocean are to be called marine resources. They include materials and attributes found in the ocean having intrinsic or monetary value for us. The plants which originate in the ocean and the organisms which thrive in the ocean make ocean biodiversity, from which we extract fish and myriads of seafood for our use or as animal feed. Several birds and terrestrial mammals derive their food from the ocean, which we hunt for food and industrial purposes. The marine resources can be simply classified as the biological, physical and energy resources. Let's see what is biological resources. Biological resources include the living organisms which are used as food and the chemicals products they secrete. Fishes, shells, mollusks, seaweeds, algae and the chemicals produced by the marine organisms form the biological resources. Then physical resources include the materials which are derived from the ocean and the ocean floor. Various minerals including oil and gas, gravels, sand, salt, etc. make the physical resources. Ocean is the resource of both renewable and non-renewable energy resources. The largest formations of hydrocarbon on the planet Earth is not that of coal or petroleum, but the methane laced ice crystals which is found in the sediments of some continental slope. Renewable energy can be extracted from the heat or motion attributes of the ocean water. Even along the coasts, the high velocity of wind is used to run wind turbine, generating electricity which again is attributed to the marine environment. Ocean water itself is a source of fresh water after desalination and is used as coolant in the metallurgical factories and power plants. Let's see about the classification as per their utility. The marine resources can be clubbed in two groups as per their utility. First, what we use in day-to-day life and the second is the things which maintain the life support system of the planet Earth. The first consists the material goods as the provisioning services by ocean, and the second is the supporting and the regulating services. In other words, while the former is of economic nature, the latter is of ecological nature. In table 1, you can see the major provisioning as well as supporting and regulating services. Let us discuss them in brief. Provisioning services. Fisheries include the fin fish such as salmon, sardine, blueling, grenadier and racefish, and the shellfish such as oysters, mussels, crabs and lobsters. Then oil and gas are extracted from offshore areas. Figure 1 shows an offshore petroleum mining station. Now on to minerals. Manganese nodules of the abyssal plains are not only the source of manganese but are rich concentrates of multiple valuable minerals such as gold, nickel, cobalt, copper and zinc. Chemical compounds derived from various organisms such as fishes, algae, sponge, weeds, etc. make medicines and cosmetics. Then sand and gravels are, though not very glamorous like hydrocarbons in terms of value, it is second only to hydrocarbons. Marine heat differences, waves, current, tides and ocean driven high velocity perennial wind flow are harnessed for renewable energy in the form of electricity. Now let us discuss about the supporting and regulating services. Marine tourism is the fast growing industry generating employment and currency in the host country. Water sports such as scuba diving, surfing, sailing, jet skiing and leisurely whale watching and fishing are the common attractions for tourists. Then waste disposal, absorption and detoxification are important regulating services as marine organisms store, bury and transform many waste materials through assimilation and chemical transformation either directly or indirectly. Scientists are working now on the idea to capture and store carbon dioxide as liquid or solid under the sea to mitigate the climate change. Marine habitats with rich coral reefs support biodiversity which allow us to harness the fishes in abundance and they make excellent tourist spots. Nutrient cycle is another aspect of importance. The storage and maintenance of nutrients are done by the organisms which live in the marine environment. Water that comes up from the deep ocean through upwelling tends to be nutrient and oxygen rich, and these upwelling zones are associated with high productivity of fisheries. Though the natural carbon sequestration and storage process, it also provides the climate regulation service. Now let us discuss about the marine resources around the world. Around a third of the oil and gas extracted worldwide comes from the offshore sources. A unique combination of high quality protein and vital nutrients make fish an invaluable food. It is the most important protein source in many developing countries. Fish consumption is highest in China as well as in Western industrialized countries. About 90% of the global fishery activity occurs in coastal waters. They are the place where more than 45% of the world's population lives. About 75% of the mega cities with populations over 10 million are located in the coastal areas. The global shipping provides a dynamic world market wherein tankers, bulk carriers and container ships leave behind them the other means of world transportation. Especially the containerization has revolutionized the global cargo shipping. Now regarding the distribution of minerals, methane hydrates are solid ice-like compounds found on the ocean floor. Experts believe they contain 10 times more gas than is available in all the conventional deposits. Metals are found mainly in 3 types of mineral deposits: manganese nodules, cobalt crusts and massive sulfides. The manganese nodules can be of the size of a potato. There are 4 major areas of manganese nodules worldwide, the largest being the Clarion-Clipperton Zone (CCZ) in the Pacific in an area equivalent to the size of Europe. Massive sulfides are of great interest because they contain high levels of gold and silver. The deposits in the Bismarck Sea near Papua New Guinea appear to offer great potential. Now, let us discuss about the distribution of fish. The world fish capture production in 2015 recorded 81.16 million tons, which was largely marine capture, accounting 86.69%. The spatial pattern of the catch distribution is concentrated in the Pacific Northwest and the Pacific Western Central, amounting 34 million tons. Beyond Pacific, it is the Atlantic Northeast reporting high catches of 9 million tons. The Indian Ocean recorded 11 million tons of marine fish catches during the same year of 2015. Now, table 2 shows the world marine fish production by oceans for the year 2015. In country-wise distribution pattern, China dominates with a reported marine fish catches of 15,000 tons, which accounted 18.87% of the world catches in 2015. Indonesia is the other country from Asia surpassing the USA. In the table 3, you can see that 80.1% of the world marine catches were reported from only 23 countries. Let us examine mariculture as livelihood now. It is not just that marine resources are harnessed, but also by several ways in controlled marine environment. Plant or animal of our choice are cultivated. With the rise in technology and entrepreneurs coming forward to invest in this as an industry, it has seen expansion across the world. However, they have to lock horns with the green laws and lobbyists. In Central California, till 1960s, seaweed was cultivated along the coastline on the cliff, where it was very much popular among the Chinese because they love weed as very important food. In India, seaweed is mainly produced in the east coast, that is Park Bay, and on the intertidal and subtidal regions of Gujarat. In India, in 2009, the production was 865 tons of dry weight. Abalone as seafood is farmed along the San Francisco coast since 1968. The baby oysters are placed in perforated trays hanging in the water until they grow to maturity. Lobster is grown in clean and food-rich marine water in hatcheries hung into the water by bios. Let's now discuss the marine livelihood dependence. The population living in the contiguous area along the coast, that is less than 10 meters above sea level, low elevation coastal zone, that is called LECZ, are dependent most for their livelihood on the marine resources. The UN compiled data on this aspect reveal the fact that smaller, insular and mostly developing countries make the list when we include only the countries having at least 1/3 dependence of population from this zone. The population in the LECZ depend on fishing and fishing related operations like aquaculture, mariculture, industry, workers in marine based factories, marine transportations, recreations, etc. Maldives is the only country reporting 10% population having marine employment support. Since higher dependence has been reported from the developing countries, it could be said safely that marine matters most in the life of poor. The labor-intensive employment generation by ocean has supported high population density all around the world in smaller economies, all along sea coasts. However, India reported poorly in this regard with a population share of respectively 10.46, that is for urban population, 4.48% for rural population and 6.72% for the total population in 2000. In figure 2, you can see the indigenous ways of fishing of India. Marine resources in India. According to FAO, India was the second largest producer of fish, including the marine fishes. with an export value of 30,000 crores during 2013-14. According to the Ministry of Agriculture, Government of India, with an exclusive economic zone of 2.02 million square kilometer, she has been continuously harnessing its vast potential, which is indicated in the fact that from 0.75 million tons in 1950-51, the fish catch reached to 9.58 million tons in 2013-14, of which marine fish accounted 36%. In figure 3, you can see Indian marine fishing operations. India has good backup of marine resource infrastructure. In this regard, let's discuss the facts which are very much positive for the development of marine resource in India. The only subcontinent in the world, India opens into ocean in 3 sides. This entails her to harness the huge potential of marine resources in the large aquatic territory under its command. With the coastline of 8,129 km, the exclusive economic zone of 2.03 million square kilometers, the continental shelf of 0.506 million square kilometers, and the brackish water spreading in 1.2 million hectares, the prospect of fishing is enormous in India. This has resulted over the years a huge army of manpower well spread in over 3,600 fishing villages to harness the marine fishes. Table 4 shows at a glance the marine resource scenario of India. The East Coast account larger exclusive economic zone than the West Coast. During 2013-14, the marine fish accounted 36% of the total production. In the light of saturation in inland fishing in India, there lies opportunity galore to expand the marine fishing drive. India has 9 maritime states and 2 island territories. Figure 4 shows the exclusive economic zone of India, wherein it can be seen why the West Coast is 2/3 times more productive than the East Coast. In 2010, the country reported a total of 1,537 landing centers for handling of marine fish. The fishing folk of 40.56 lakh living in 3,432 fishing villages were having 8.74 lakh fisher families. In Tamil Nadu, 2 lakh fisher families comprises 8 lakh members earn livelihood in fishing, while highest coastline endowed Gujarat leads in production with, however, lesser engagement of manpower, that is about 3 lakh. Indian law regulates the fishing calendar and the designated distance from the coast within which only the non-mechanized boat having fishermen will operate. This is done for ensuring the livelihood of the traditional fishermen. In the East Coast, from 15 April to 14 June, and in the West Coast between 1 June and 31st July for 61 days, fishing is not allowed. Now, why this regulation is there? Because the fish has to be given some time for their growth. That way we can have continuity in their production. Now, let's discuss marine fish production and distribution in India. The marine fishery of India is on the rise, which is shown by the data for 2005-06 and 2013-14. Between this period, the production rose by 22.27% from 2,816 to 3,443,000 tons. Among all the marine states, 2 states, Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka, recorded the highest 100% jump in catches. At the same time, 2 states of Kerala and Odisha have faltered too, with, however, slight downside catches. The table 5 and figure 5 show how the marine production across the states of India, from the top producer of Gujarat to Goa, there is almost uniform decrease in the quantum. Now, let's discuss about the brackish water based livelihood in India. In India, it is in practice for long in various, that is man-made impoundments in coastal wetlands of West Bengal, and Pokali, the salt-resistant deep-water paddy fields along the Kerala coast. Tidal water with all assorted fish and shrimp seed is allowed to enter through sluice gates during spring tides. Now, let us discuss about the brackish water aquaculture in India. It is concentrated around the giant tiger prawn as the single most important species. Mariculture in India is limited to the farming of mussels and edible oysters undertaken in some coastal region of Kerala over the years. Further, like tissue culture of marine pearls, hatchery techniques for lobsters and ornamental fishes have shown great potential in expanding the marine livelihood base of the country. The commercial production of oysters in India started during the late 90s, which reached to 2,400 tons in 2008. Now, let us discuss the future ahead and the gap in the utilization of marine resources. The United Nations proposed 2021 to 2030 as the International Decade of Ocean Science. This is for there is no internationally agreed methodology for estimating the economic value of services the ocean provides to humankind. Science is yet to meaningfully evaluate the cumulative impacts of climate change, marine pollution, and other anthropogenic stresses on the health of the ocean ecosystem. 99% of habitable marine areas are yet to be covered for the basic biodiversity knowledge we require for effective management. Till now, we have mapped only 5% of the ocean floor, and of which only 1% has been gridded at high resolution. In India, Fishery Survey of India is the nodal fishery institute which generates statistics. National Institute of Oceanography, located at Goa, is the apex scientific body for the advancement in the field. Now, let us summarize the lesson. The biological diversity and the mammoth extent of marine biosphere make marine resources of great diversity and quantum, offering enormous scope to depend upon for foods, feeds, fuels, fleet operations, and factory raw materials serving the humankind. The ocean, as the largest spatial entity, has potential galore beyond our imagination. With the passage of time, the technological advancements and diminishing and dwindling terrestrial resource will together make marine resources darling of the day, especially among the advanced nations. War will be fought for commanding control on the oceanic territory. The China Sea is the live example of this. Thank you.